And I want to bring in ABC News contributor, former senior special agent at the Secret Service, Donald Mihalek, for more on this. Donald, one of the main failures outlined in this report focused on the officers not confronting the shooter after spotting him more than 90 minutes before he opened fire. How does that happen?
That's a great question, Diane. I've been asking that since July 13th. That's a failure of basic police work, and that the local law enforcement officers had seen the suspect, identified the suspect, and nobody went up to interview and identify what he was doing. That failure then exacerbated the problem, which is what we saw with the end result in Butler, Pennsylvania. Had somebody gone up and spoken to the individual, interviewed him, we wouldn't be talking about Butler right now.
So the report found there was a troubling, quote, lack of critical thinking by Secret Service personnel before, during, and after that assassination attempt. What do you make of that? The after part seems to stick out to me. Does it feel like lessons are not being learned in the way they need to be, and what changes need to be made now?
The Secret Service today is a much smaller and leaner agency than it was when I was there. September 11th, 2001 was a defining moment. The next day, the Secret Service's protective mandate doubled. Since then, its funding and its personnel have not doubled to keep up with the pace and intensity of the operations. That, in my opinion, has had a cascading effect on the agency, putting it in a position now where we have these critical thinking failures, because presently the agency is asking its personnel to do more with less, and the campaign is constant. So I think the critical thinking is a great concern, and I think that has more to do with complacency setting in due to the pace and intensity that the current personnel have to work under, versus after 9/11, an agency like the FBI saw a dramatic increase in funding, saw a dramatic increase in personnel. They hired thousands of agents in order to accommodate their new and growing anti-terrorism mission. The Secret Service never got the benefit of that, and I think it's paying that price 20 years hence.
And Donald, the panel recommends changes be made no later than March 31st, 2025. So how do you see the agency implementing these changes, and what happens in the meantime? The election's 19 days away.
Yeah, so none of these changes, I think, are going to happen overnight. I think, as we saw in 2014, after that protection mission panel report, the Secret Service did make a host of changes that this report spoke about. They did bring in outside leadership. Right now, the COO and the CFO of the Secret Service are civilians, as well as some other top-level officials. After the Butler incident, the Secret Service did implement some changes to its protocols and protective methodology. But it's still, the one thing the panel report did not address is the attrition issue that the Secret Service faces, as well as law enforcement generally faces these days. They just can't get enough people to come in to apply and to be a part of the law enforcement career field, and for the Secret Service to become special agents in the Secret Service. That in and of itself is a red light that should be flashing across the nation, and it needs to be addressed.
All right, Donald Mihalek, we appreciate it as always. Thank you.